Yo, what is going on, y'all? V-Rob here. Today what we are going on, as you guys can see by the title of this video, we will be talking about the Houston Rockets and the current success that they have been having. If you guys have been keeping up with the Houston Rockets or the NBA, the Houston Rockets are sitting at 10-3 after their 7-game win streak that they are still on. They have beaten teams such as the Memphis Grizzlies, the Golden State Warriors, the Chicago Bulls, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Clippers, the Pacers, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Throughout this win streak, they are averaging 116 points per game. It has been absolutely amazing and has gotten them a spot at number 2 in the Western Conference so far throughout this early stage of the NBA season. I want to talk about the last 3 games specifically though. The Clippers game, the Pacers, and the Timberwolves. We're going to start off talking about the Clippers game that they won last Wednesday, 102-93. James Harden had an absolutely amazing performance, dropping 43 points. Clint Capella played well as well, dropped 20 and 12. Russell Westbrook did not shoot that well, shot 6 for 20, but their defense was absolutely amazing that entire game. We obviously know the LA Clippers, who dropped 150 points last night against the Atlanta Hawks. They are a very solid defensive team, especially, but also a very good offensive team, especially off the bench when you have players like Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams to give you a spark off the bench like that. They had Kawhi Leonard. They did not have Paul George playing, but they still had Kawhi Leonard. And they just locked up that team, especially in the fourth quarter when the Clippers tried to get back in the game. It was a very aggressive game and a very aggressive matchup. A lot of aggression, a lot of emotion, and they pulled out a really solid dub. I was really impressed on how they played that game. Then we hop into the next game against the Indiana Pacers. In that game, they won 111-102. James Harden dropped 44 points. I was really impressed on how this team rebounded, especially towards the end of the game. They outscored the Indiana Pacers 31-23, and it got them to second in the Western Conference immediately after that game. Ben McLemore off the bench, or excuse me, he actually was in the starting lineup for Eric Gordon, who was injured. He dropped 21 points, who I thought played absolutely amazing. Westbrook had 17, and this is also without Clint Capella. Off the bench, he also had Austin Rivers, and this was against a beat-up Pacers team without Oladipo, without Miles Turner, but they got 52 points off the bench from players like Doug McDermott, TJ McConnell, TJ Leaf, and Drew Holiday. I was really impressed in this dub as well. Now we switch into the game last night in which they won 125-105 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now there were a lot of players out this game, including Russell Westbrook, Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, and from the Timberwolves side of things, Andrew Wiggins. In this performance, James Harden had 49 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Ben McLemore also came back with another solid performance, dropping 20 points. In the starting lineup, Austin Rivers also scored 19. They played a really amazing basketball game. They made 19 threes. Of course, Karl-Anthony Towns showed out, dropped 27-15. But James Harden dropped 49 points in this performance, and I was so impressed on how James Harden played in this game. Talking a bit more about James Harden, he was averaging 43 points per game on 28 shots per game on this 7-game win streak. He has a plus-minus during the 7-game win streak of plus 117 when he is on the floor. So far this season as a whole, with his 13 games combined, he is averaging 40 points a game along with 8 rebounds, shooting 33% from 3 and 42% from the field. He has been playing absolutely amazing as opposed to what he did last season. He's averaging 4 more points per game, more assists, more rebounds, even more steals, almost close to 2 steals a game. In my opinion, he is putting up MVP numbers once again. I mean, do you guys remember a few years ago before the NBA was this high-paced, all these three-pointers type of offense on almost every single team in the league? Averaging 30 points a game seemed crazy. I mean, that was only done by select people like Carmelo Anthony averaging 29, like Kobe Bryant, who averaged 32 in 2006. This was a very rare thing for someone to score over 30 a game. We're talking about James Harden, who just came off a season averaging 36 a game, to now averaging 40 points a game so far, a 7th way through the season. Can he keep this up? In my opinion, I think he can, yo. Obviously, he did a lot of what he is doing right now last season, but he is improving his shot. He's being more like iso ball takeover James Harden, even with Russell Westbrook there. Russell Westbrook has had to take a step back as of late. He's only averaging 26-6 on this 7-game win streak. Obviously, he did not play against the Timberwolves or the Grizzlies in this 7-game win streak, but he has a plus-minus of 56. So now we're going to transition also to injuries. Starting off with Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is expected to miss 6 weeks due to knee surgery that he suffered earlier last week. Gerald Green is also expected to miss the next 6 months due to foot surgery. And then as for other players, Clint Capella is expected to be back this week, and Russell Westbrook is expected to play tomorrow against the Portland Trailblazers. Now, talking about the team as a whole, throughout the season so far, 13 games in, they have been playing very well offensively. They lead the league in three-pointers made, free throws attempted, points per game, free throws made. And one also thing to note, they are 29th in the league in two-pointers attempted. Now, on the defensive side of things, they have not been good. They are 27th in the league in points allowed per game at 114. You look at what they're doing right now, they are just being very lazy on defense, especially Russell Westbrook. I feel the thing with Russell Westbrook about him being lazy on defense is that he isn't getting that involved offensively. That has been a huge concern for me, is that Russell Westbrook has been turned into someone that is not the point guard of this basketball team. He only handles the ball really when James Harden is out of the game, which is a very limited amount of time judging. He is averaging, 37 minutes a game so far this year, so about 9 minutes he is not in this basketball game, or excuse me, 11. So Russell Westbrook, like I said, is only averaging 26 and 6 so far on the 7-game win streak. I mean, he's doing what he has to do, but he is shooting the ball way too much, way too inconsistent, and I don't really blame him for it. It is hard to get a groove when you are not handling the ball after you have handled the ball your entire career, when you have led the league in usage rate for the past 3-4 seasons. By far, it was him and James Harden at 1 and 2 just going back and forth. So I am concerned with Russell Westbrook from that standpoint, and Shaquille O'Neal always said this: if you want the dog to protect the house, you gotta feed it. You gotta feed Russell Westbrook to help him be more consistent on defense. It is just like any other player in the NBA. You have to get them involved on the offensive end, and then they will give you more effort on the defensive end. Now, that is not always true with a lot of players, but a lot of superstars are like that. Comparing it to last season, though, especially with Chris Paul, this team was actually a top 10 defensive team the last 2 years in the NBA, which shocked a lot of people, and I brought that up over the last few seasons, because people just looked at the Houston Rockets and they never pictured them as a top-tier defensive team. And honestly, they were, yo. Chris Paul is a very solid defender despite for his height being 6'1", and it just really helped the team as a whole. Clint Capella obviously has had some good games defensively, but I still feel he needs to pick it up a lot. That weighs on this team defensively is a lot like other veteran teams in the NBA. It's all hustle. It's all effort. Now looking at the next 15 games. I'm looking at the next 15 games right here, and it is a really interesting schedule. There's some tough games, at Denver, at the Clippers, at San Antonio, at Toronto. But looking at these next 15 games, I'm looking at them probably finishing with a record of 12 and 3. That would put them at a record of 22 and 6 after December 16th. You look at what they did last season. After a very rough start last year, they were 14 and 14 through 28 games last year, which got them obviously to the 4th seed in the West, and in my opinion, impacted the chances of making the finals. Now, looking at last year, like I said, 14 and 14, switched that to 22 and 6. I mean, you look at right now, they started last season off at this time last year at 6 and 7. Now this season, they are sitting at 10 and 3. Giving y'all some final thoughts about this basketball team. Like I said, I have a huge concern for Russell Westbrook just because I know the talent level is there, but I just don't feel he's getting adjusted enough into the lineup where he can give you the Russell Westbrook type impact. Like, I don't know if they need the Russell Westbrook type impact if they're just going to do this James Harden ISO ball game where he is shooting the ball 41 times in a game against the Timberwolves, where he is averaging 28 shots a game, playing 37 minutes a game. He is a made point guard for this team. Why are you having Russell Westbrook as a catch-and-shoot player or just sitting on the wing when he is one of the most athletic point guards this league has ever seen? Being someone that has watched the Thunder and watched Russell Westbrook's career evolve, I can still tell you guys he is still a very, very talented player. He, in my opinion, is still a top 12 player in this league. I just feel like the Rockets aren't using him right. If I had to tell you guys how I would run this basketball team, I would do more 50-50. I would have James Harden honestly be more of a catch-and-shoot, off-the-wing type player because Russell Westbrook, like I said, he's nowhere close to the level of skill shooting the basketball as opposed to his teammate James Harden, and I feel it is really affecting him also on the defensive end as well. What worries me also about this basketball team, we have seen this every single year. They try and do this ISO ball with James Harden. Harden goes off in the regular season. We talk about how he should win MVP. He won MVP in 2018. Come playoff time, they try the same thing. It doesn't work. He either gets wore down, he either gets too much pressure on him, Teams collapse on him. They're more aggressive with him when he does an ISO ball situation. People call travel on him, double dribble, whatnot. It just does not work in the playoffs. Kobe Bryant said it last year with an interview with Tracy McGrady on The Jump. This type of basketball, this ISO ball, this one-on-one type play style that the Houston Rockets are notorious for doing year after year in the Mike D'Antoni offense, it is not set to win an NBA championship. We see this story every single year, and we get tricked by it every single year, just like me. I said all year last year, if James Harden can keep this up, they can really compete for the finals. If James Harden keeps doing this, they can really win the finals. It doesn't evolve well into the playoffs. The playoffs are all about hustle. They're all about aggression. They're all about moving the ball around. They're all about getting second chance looks, getting open shots, making the extra pass. And this James Harden one-on-one ISO ball just does not evolve well into the playoffs. I'm just telling you guys this. If they play the Lakers in the playoffs and they're doing the same play style, the Lakers will win in 5 games. I'm going to tell you guys that straight up. They will win in 5 games. You put Danny Green or Avery Bradley on him the whole game, all up in his face, he's going to get upset. He's going to get upset, and it's going to be hard to get other players involved, especially if you get James Harden cold, and they try and get other players involved that have rarely shot the ball and just relied on James Harden to shoot the ball, get them out of the situation that they're in throughout the entire season, and you put the other players in a situation where they have to make a big-time shot in a late-game situation in the playoffs. They might not be ready for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you guys so much for the support. Cannot thank you guys enough. Stay blessed. All love 2019. Keep being yourself. Keep being who you are. Keep following your dreams. Do not listen to other people's opinions about you. Create what you want. Do what you want. Just be yourself, y'all. Comment down what you think about the Houston Rockets so far this season. They are playing the Portland Trail Blazers tonight if I upload this video on Monday. Thank you guys so much. Stay blessed. All love 2019. Veer is out to sing, y'all. Peace! That's a banger. That is such a good video. Oh my god.